Hey y'all, thank you for coming back and tuning into another video. If you watched my first video, you know that I discussed house hacking and Airbnb or short-term rentals. I let you know that I use my basement as a short-term rental and I listed on Airbnb. The purpose of me doing that is to eliminate my mortgage expense so I don't have that coming from my earned income. So I hear a lot of people say, I can't do that, or I wish I could do that, or oh, that's good, but this or that. And I want to make it clear that if you want to do something, you're going to do it. If you don't want to do it, that's not for you and that's fine, but you're going to find any reason not to do it. So in this video, I'm addressing those who want to house hack or want to eliminate their mortgage expense as much as they possibly can by using what they have. So my basement was basically designed to be an apartment, and I realized that everyone does not live in an area of the country that has an abundance of basements, which is fine. There's other ways that you can do it. Here's a few of them. You can do it by buying a duplex, a triplex, or a fourplex. So what these are multifamily properties. Multifamily properties are basically mini apartment buildings. You can kind of look at it like that. You can look at it as you might have a duplex where it's a unit upstairs and a unit downstairs, or it can be like a side-by-side unit. You can live on one side and rent out the other side. You would essentially do the same thing with a triplex, except there would be 3 units in the building. The same thing with a fourplex, except there will be 4 units in the building. You can live in one, rent all the others out. And the premise behind this is that the tenant's rent is going to cover your mortgage payment. So doing that, you could live rent or mortgage free, and probably have additional income as well to save, invest, pay down some debt, whatever you choose to do with it. Now, you may also live in an area where those types of buildings are not plentiful as well. That's okay too. I grew up in Hilton Head Island, South Carolina. If you know anything about the coast of South Carolina, like we're literally surrounded by water because we're on the coast. I'm on an island, so we're surrounded by it on all sides. You're not gonna find a house with a basement because we're just too close to the water. You're not gonna find a duplex on Hilton Head because they just don't really have them. You might find townhouses, like a stretch of townhouses, but you're not gonna really find a building that was built to be a duplex or a triplex or a fourplex. You're just not gonna find that. However, there are other ways that you can do it. So if you live in an area where you don't have duplexes, you don't have triplexes, you don't have basements, you don't have an attic, that can be turned into an apartment, there's another way that you can do it. So for all of my people who are in the low country or in South Carolina and have ever considered maybe buying a piece of land, having a mobile home on it, you could go a little step further if your county allows it. You always want to check with your county and see what your county will allow you to do, because some counties have restrictions on mobile homes, how many can go on one piece of land, etc. So if you're in an area where they will allow you to put multiple mobile homes on a certain amount of land, you can take advantage of it that way. You can have the house that you live in or the mobile home that you live in. You can put another smaller one on there and you can rent that out. The rent would need to be enough to cover where you're living as well. So you want to make sure that it makes sense. The numbers make sense and you're pricing it accordingly, while also staying within the fair market rental value. Another way that you can do this is looking for homes that have additional dwelling units or ADUs. An additional dwelling unit is exactly what it sounds like. So you have your house, but it may have a detached garage that can be converted into an apartment, or it may have a garage with a apartment upstairs. You can utilize that space and rent it out instead of just letting it sit there or only using it when family comes to visit. I hear that ADUs are popular in the Midwest, but I have seen them in the low country. And when I say the low country, All my people from the low country know what I mean. In the lower part of South Carolina, if you do a search for additional dwelling units or houses with in-law suites, that's another popular term as well. What an in-law suite is basically another part of the house that is separate from the main part of the house where the in-laws would stay essentially. But you don't have to just use it for in-laws. You can use it as short-term rental, especially if you're in an area like Hilton Head, Beaufort, Charleston, Columbia, anywhere. Honestly, people are always looking for a place to stay, and I think that's something that we don't consider. People always need a place to stay, and people always need a place to live. So when you're getting into that kind of business or service, because you are providing a service, if you're providing a place for someone to stay or live, you're really not gonna have a hard time unless you're just in an area that's completely remote and nobody wants to go there. But in most cases, I would say people are always going to be looking for a place to stay. You never know why people may be visiting an area, just need to stay for a week or two. You just never know. So that is something that you can consider. Instead of buying a big old house and having a totally separate in-law suite that you only use when your mother-in-law comes around, you could post it as a short-term rental, or you could post it as a long-term rental. Maybe do a lease term of 6 months, 9 months, just to start out and see how it goes. But the point is, if you're wanting to do something like this, at least consider it. If you've never bought a property before, start looking for those types of property. Don't put yourself in a box and just look for a regular house. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I just mean you don't have to do the standard or what's always been done or what you see everyone else around you has done. Let's say you have some land, maybe it's family land, maybe the family discusses it, they're fine with you living on the property. But if the property again is big enough, you can consider purchasing a tiny home or having a tiny home built if you have enough space on the land and if your county allows it. Because every county, like I said, they have these zoning rules. They may not allow it. So you just want to make sure of the rules and regulations in your jurisdiction before you do something like this. But having a tiny home in the back of a house or even behind a mobile home would suffice as well. You can rent that out. I've seen people on YouTube actually do that. They list it on as a short-term rental. And they get pretty good stays from it as well, and it brings in pretty good income for people who are traveling and maybe just need it for 1 or 2 people, because tiny homes are, very small. Another way that you can house hack would be using the home that you already have. So if you're in a home and you have multiple bedrooms and you are living by yourself for some reason, like I was at 23, you can get roommates and rent out those other bedrooms. Now, this is not going to be ideal maybe for people who have children or have families, although I know people who have done it with children. It's what you're comfortable with. It's your comfort level. If you're open to having roommates for a little while until you can achieve a certain goal, until you can get to a certain place financially, it would be a good thing to consider. Because if you're young, you've bought this home, you've put in, this time to do your research, you vet people correctly. Like, you screen people the way you're supposed to screen them. You do background checks, you do credit checks, you call references, multiple references, you call their job and get a reference from their job. You are going to have a better chance of getting good people to stay in your rentals. That is a whole nother video for another time, how to properly vet people. But this vetting people is so important because it helps you maintain the property. It helps you have some control over who's gonna be there. Do people jump stupid and do stupid stuff? Yeah, people jump stupid and do stupid stuff every day. But if you've really done your due diligence, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna get good people in your unit. You're gonna get people that are gonna take care of it, people that are gonna respect it. You're gonna have less damages, you're gonna have less issues. That's just my experience with it. The last way that I would say that you could house hack would be to have enough rental income coming in on a consistent basis that covers wherever you're living. So if you are living in a place and it's $1,500 a month, the rental income will cover the expenses at the rental property and cover the expenses at your property that you live in. So those are some other ways that you can house hack, some things that you can think about. And I just want to encourage anybody that wants to do this to do it. I heard Charles Oglesby say one time, you eliminate your housing expense, you change your life. Because your housing expense for most Americans, not all, but most Americans, is over 30% of their income. You have people who are paying 50 to 70% of their income in where they live. So after you have paid for where you stay, you've paid for the utilities, and you've paid for food, which is all a part of Maslow's hierarchy, you've taken care of everything that you need to take care of, you basically have nothing left. You have nothing left. So how are you clothing yourself? How are you having fun? How are you paying any debt that you have? And if you're watching this video and you don't have debt, keep it that way. But yeah, that is just something to keep in mind, and something to really think about. Because when you don't have to pay bills, when you don't have to pay those expenses, all that money can go to other stuff. All that money can go to saving up. All that money can go to investing. And the more you invest, the more compound interest is going to work in your favor, and you're going to come out on the other side of it doing very well and not having to worry about money. And not that you're worrying about money if you watch this video, but just not having to think about little things like asking for a day off or asking for a month off and traveling the world, or giving more of your time to people in the community that need it. There's so many other things that you can do if you are not having to rely on that 9-to-5 income all the time. So just think about that, consider that. If you are interested in house hacking, listen to this video, tap into it, do your research for yourself to see how you can do it in the area that you live in, how you can be successful at it, and also do your research on what strategy you're going to use. Are you going to use a short-term rental strategy? Are you going to do a long-term rental strategy? Are you going to do travel nurses? Are you going to house travel nurses and people, corporate people? Like, that is what you want to, that's what you want to focus on, and that's what you want to tap into. So I have links down below. If you are interested in being a landlord or using landlord software, please use my link for Avail. Avail is a website that allows landlords to manage their properties efficiently and effectively. I've been using it for probably about 2 years now, and I really like it a lot. Also, I have a link for Airbnb. If you want to become a host, you get money and I get money if you use my referral link. So don't leave money on the table. Use the referral link, it's free. Also, using the referral link, if you need any assistance, if you need any guidance, if you need any feedback on your short-term rental, that will allow me to tap in with you on Airbnb, help you every step of the way until you get your first booking. I am also now a Superhost ambassador and helping and developing people to become Superhost as well. So tap in below for that too. We want everybody to do what they set out to do, not just to make money, but to be great at what you do. And I've been a Superhost now twice in a row. It's not a difficult thing to achieve, but you do have to be diligent. You do have to put work in to achieve that, and I'm just here to help as many people as I can reach that status so that guests can have great Airbnb experiences, because the great Airbnb experiences come from the Superhost. So tap in with me, click the links below, comment below, let me know if you need any help, if you need any guidance, if you have any questions. I'm here to help you. Thank you for watching this video.